me for my help. I told her to get the away from Charlie. I did everything that I could do to get Bryshere, to help her get Bryshere out of California into Chicago safe to be ready for filming. She knew he had been, she knew what Will did to him.
Oh y'all, this tea is hotter than a Sunday dinner fresh out the oven. Word on the streets is Katt Williams and Jaguar Wright are back spilling all kinds of jaw-dropping secrets. This time they're pointing fingers at Bryshere Gray's mom, claiming she sold her son to none other than Will Smith and Diddy. Like what? It's giving Hollywood dark side vibes, and if y'all thought Bryshere's past drama was messy, this right here might just take the cake. The Bryshere Gray drama is getting wild.
I'm sorry, the Bryshere conversation for me is not easy, because I came to Belial and I asked Belial to help me save the kids, and all he was worried about was his book.
Like, did his own mama really sell him out to Diddy for some cash? Whew, y'all better grab a seat for this, cause Jaguar Wright just came through swinging with some crazy claims. Sis is out here saying Bryshere got straight up violated by Diddy and Will Smith so bad that he had to run from Hollywood altogether. Now we already know Jaguar don't hold back. She's been saying for a minute that Diddy turned Bryshere into his little freak off boy toy, but this time she's taking it to a whole new level, calling out Bryshere's mom Andrea Mayberry and his ex-manager Charlie Mack for straight up selling him off. Jaguar's even saying they turned Bryshere into some kind of Hollywood slave. And y'all, it gets worse. Jag claims there's a whole tape out there with Justin Bieber, Bryshere, Diddy, and Will doing some foul stuff. Like, what even is this? And here's the kicker. Apparently, Bryshere tried to file a $50 million lawsuit against Diddy and Will earlier this year. But before that could even hit the streets, they supposedly got to him and shut him all the way up.
See, they trying to sleep him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
The way Bryshere Gray ended up in Diddy's circle is straight up shady. So Bryshere got discovered by Charlie Mack when he was like 17. Charlie scooped him up and started managing him, pulling strings to get him a last minute audition for the role of Hakeem Lion on Empire. Bryshere crushed that audition, like ate it up, and boom, he got the part. Once Empire blew up, Charlie decided Bryshere needed a mentor, so he linked him with Will Smith to level up his acting. But Bryshere wasn't just about acting, he wanted to do music too. So guess who Charlie introduced him to? Diddy. And y'all already know, Diddy don't do nothing for free. Jaguar Wright spilled that by the time all this so-called mentorship was over, Bryshere had been violated, passed around, and completely blackballed.
It's just great. I'm watching him, he's with my man Charlie Mack. So Charlie was with me every step of the way. First out the limo. So Charlie has been with me, 30 years coming up in the business. So, he's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
It's like Uncle Will, who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice. I got my first acting role, Empire, and it's changing my life, and it's like I'm listening from the greatest, and it's like making me well prepared to work with Taraji and Terrence Howard,
Back then, people thought Diddy and Will were genuinely helping him, but nah, they were just using him for their own twisted agendas. Jaguar said this whole mentorship thing was just a cover to lure young dudes into their freak-off parties. They'd promised to make these boys stars, but instead, they'd end up in these wild sessions. Think hours-long freak-offs with baby oil everywhere. Jaguar even dropped a bomb about Bryshere and Meek Mill running out of Will's house one time, screaming for help after one of these nasty freak-off situations. This whole industry is sounding more and more like a trap.
Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming. They ain't doing as much, I guess, now because they're getting older. I guess it just moved over to the Wade house. I'm not saying that because of their trans
But Jaguar Wright didn't just call out Diddy and Will for their mess with Bryshere. She also accused Will of getting inappropriate with his own son, Jaden, when he was just 15. Jaguar says that's why Jaden packed up and left Will's house before he even hit 18. Like, let that sink in. But Jaguar wasn't lying about Diddy messing with Bryshere either, because ever since Bryshere dipped out of Hollywood, his life has been nothing but a downward spiral. Y'all, he's now out here doing gay adult content and selling his body to anybody for a few coins. His videos are floating all over the internet, and it's just wild to think about, especially since not too long ago he was one of the hottest young stars in Hollywood. Now he's out here battling addiction and pumping himself full of hard drugs. It doesn't stop there though. Bryshere's been in all kinds of legal trouble too. Back in 2022, he got found guilty of aggravated assault after he put hands on a woman he was messing with. But let's not forget, in 2020, his wife had to run to a gas station for help after he allegedly strangled her and had her blacking out repeatedly.
From his July arrest that ended with his wife flagging down police and telling them the actor had assaulted her for hours inside their Goodyear home.
When the cops showed up to arrest him, Bryshere straight refused to come out, and it took the SWAT team hours to negotiate with him before he finally gave in.
Key news coming out of Goodyear tonight: Bryshere Gray, an actor on the TV series Empire, is in jail. He was arrested after police say his wife flagged him down on Sunday night to say that Gray had assaulted her for several hours inside their home. Police say that she was injured and say that she told them she had been strangled. When police went to Gray's home, he refused to come out. After a standoff that lasted for several hours, Gray finally gave up early this morning and was arrested. We'll have more on this story for you in the 12 News app and, of course, anytime on 12news.com.
When his mugshot hit the internet, people were shook. He looked like a completely different person. That's when folks really started putting two and two together, realizing how much the industry chewed him up and spit him out. It's heartbreaking, but we gotta talk about the real damage that Diddy and Will allegedly did to Bryshere. Now yeah, he's grown and responsible for his choices, but let's keep it real. The torture they put him through set off a chain reaction that he still hasn't escaped from. He's been stuck in that trauma ever since. Jaguar Wright wasn't done dropping bombs either. In a heated interview with Real Life Productions, she spilled even more tea about how this whole situation was orchestrated. Turns out Charlie Mack, the man who was supposed to be Bryshere's mentor, wasn't clueless about what was going down.
You remember the first time you came and we worked out together?
Listen, so
that was like the heyday.
I'll give you an example, right? So Charlie Mack, for those who do not know, Charlie Mack used to be Will's security, and Charlie Mack basically has been in Will's life forever. Charlie tells me, this is in like the beginning of my career, Kev, you gotta get to Will. You gotta get around Will. You know, everybody who knows Charlie Mack, they know Charlie Mack does his best.
Kev, I'm telling you, you gotta be around Will. You gotta be around Will. You just gotta show up. I'm just saying, just show up. You gotta show up. You just gotta be in it. You just gotta be, you gotta be near that level of greatness.
Will?
And if you spend time, I'm saying, because you laughing at him, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you.
He knew exactly what Diddy and Will were doing. And get this, Bryshere's own mother, Andrea Mayberry, was allegedly in on it too. According to Jaguar, Andrea handed over her own son to Diddy for a paycheck. But it gets even messier. Jaguar claims Andrea didn't just turn a blind eye. She tried to exploit her son's pain for profit. She supposedly wrote a book nobody even wanted to read, just to make a few dollars off Bryshere's suffering. And here's the kicker. Andrea actually reached out to Jaguar recently, begging for help with Bryshere. Jaguar told her straight up to get Bryshere away from Charlie Mack because allegedly he's the one who's been pimping Bryshere out to Diddy and Will. But guess what? Andrea didn't do a thing. Instead, she let Diddy and Will keep running their freak-offs and dragging her son deeper into this mess. It's heartbreaking and downright infuriating, and there's a calculated reason why Bryshere suddenly jumped into the GAY corn industry. She claims it's all part of a bigger plan to discredit him. Basically, when Bryshere finally decides to go public with his lawsuit against Diddy and Will, they want people to think he's unhinged or unstable, so nobody will take him seriously. You know, that classic Hollywood playbook, label the victim as crazy so the world ignores what they're saying, and y'all, it gets even darker. Jaguar dropped another bomb, claiming there's a secret tape out there involving Justin Bieber, Will, Jaden, Diddy, and Bryshere having one of their infamous freak-offs. Like, if that tape is real, the internet would explode. Now, Jaguar also mentioned a lawsuit. Well, about that, a few months back, before Bryshere launched his OnlyFans career, there was chatter about him prepping to file a $50 million lawsuit against Diddy. This came from a blind item that hinted an upcoming male victim would step forward to expose an A-list mogul, Diddy. But here's the kicker, right before the lawsuit was supposed to drop, Bryshere suddenly backed out and switched gears to selling his body online. Something clearly went down behind the scenes. Did they threaten him? Pay him off? We don't know for sure, but Jaguar's convinced there's more to this story, and Katt Williams chimed in as well. As Katt said, 2024 turned out to be a rough year for a lot of these industry big shots. Katt Williams just dropped some shocking claims about how Diddy ruined young Bryshere Gray.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is, TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all.
According to Katt in the streets, Bryshere was taken advantage of by Diddy and Will Smith. They manipulated him into those freak-offs, and now Bryshere is reportedly gearing up to file a massive $50 million lawsuit against them. Insiders claim the trauma he endured in the industry triggered his mental health struggles and ultimately forced him to leave Hollywood for good. And let's not forget the allegations against Diddy from Cassie's explosive lawsuit, where she claimed he forced her into freak-offs and recorded them. That case might have opened the floodgates for others to come forward, and fans believe Bryshere could be next. What's even more disturbing is how Bryshere's career went from rising star to complete disaster. After Empire ended, he faced multiple arrests, including a 2022 incident where he was convicted of aggravated assault. His downward spiral shocked fans, especially after police released his mugshots showing how much he'd changed. People started connecting the dots, speculating that his erratic behavior could be tied to trauma he faced in the industry. It's heartbreaking when you think about how promising his career once was. Bryshere had sleeper hits, TV appearances, and a bright future ahead, but Hollywood isn't all glitz and glamour. It seems like the industry chewed him up and spit him out. As for Diddy and Will, the internet is side-eyeing them hard. Will in particular is being called out for staying silent on these allegations while threatening lawsuits over less serious claims. Meanwhile, fans are bracing for Bryshere to spill everything if he moves forward with his lawsuit. Speaking of fans, the people who supported Bryshere Simple can't believe what happened to him. One person said, "This is what you call a trauma this poor baby been through so much, and treated like a prostitute through the industry. These people need to pay for what they're doing to these kids." And another person wrote, "They turned these kids into drug addicts who hate themselves, broke them down to nothing." This story is developing, but one thing's clear, Hollywood's dark side is finally coming to light. What do y'all think about these allegations? Let us know in the comments and stay tuned, because this tea is far from over.